Hello everybody, I'm Brian from Orchids by Brian, and today we're going to talk about bulbophyllums, particularly some of the miniature bulbophyllums that I'm growing in my collection. We're going to explore some of the growing tips, how I grow these plants, and how you might be able to grow them at home. So stay tuned for a really awesome educational video on care and culture of miniature bulbophyllums. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about some of the new bulbophyllums that I have, miniature bulbophyllums, and a little bit about the care considerations for 3 of them today. One being this Bulbophyllum Championii, Bulbophyllum Intersitum, and Bulbophyllum Nasica. So these are all Papua New Guinea bulbophyllums. They all range from that area. Their flowers are somewhat similar, and they are, for me, fairly easy to grow. Although I will say that some folks have some difficulty blooming these bulbophyllums. I don't think that they're particularly hard. Well, let's start with the Bulbophyllum Championii. Bulbophyllum Championii is one I picked up from Tropical Exotic. It took a couple of years to get this guy to bloom, and it turned out that my variety is the red flowering variety of Bulbophyllum Championii. And there's 2 different varieties of Championii, one being the yellow, which is the more common variety of this plant, and then there is the red, which has these dark red petals that fade to yellow on the flower. It's a really spectacular bulbophyllum flower, and super pleased with the plant itself. And it has red hairs on that upper sepal and then very thin hairs on the sepal that go kind of down the side. And of course it has that bouncy lip that drops very low on these very slender spikes. This is the first time that it's bloomed for me, like I said, and so it's a new one. I grow it intermediate cool. I've done some research that suggests that it grows well intermediate cool. Some folks say that it's more of an intermediate warm grower. Knowing what I know about some other orchid species from Papua New Guinea and New Guinea, I think intermediate is a good general rule for the 3 bulbophyllums that I'm going to talk about today, and it works well for Championii. One thing to consider with bulbophyllum is that the light needs and temperature needs vary significantly from flower and plant to plant. So some plants are going to need, or appreciate, I should say, brighter light, while others are going to do better in shade. With these Papua New Guinea bulbophyllums, the Bulbophyllum Intersitum that I have here, or Intersitum, which I have mounted, grows really well in straight shade. So I grow it on a stick in the shadiest part of my cool growing grow tent, and I keep it pretty wet. This plant stays very, very wet. I water it every single day, and it definitely appreciates it. It's sending up several spikes on its first time blooming. The flowers are very special little plants, special little flowers, I should say. They have these wonderful stripes. They're very small flowers. They don't last very long for a bulbophyllum. They only last about 4 or 5 days, which is average for bulbophyllums, but I have found that some last quite a while. But for the short period of time and the amount of spikes that this plant appears to send up, I've counted 7 or 8 on the plant right now. It can bloom for quite a while, especially if they bloom for 5 days. You could have something blooming for a month or 2, depending on the culture considerations. Now, this plant definitely has the most spectacular flower, in my opinion, of these Papua New Guinea Papua New Guinea bulbophyllums with this striking, almost purple blue colored flower with white hairs. But I picked this up from Andy's Orchids. So this is what the Andy's Orchids Bulbophyllum Nasica looks like. And I've had it mounted for over a year. It's growing really well. It tends to send up several new growths a year. But this year it's only bloomed 2 spikes as far as I know right now. So wonderful plant. This plant grows really bright. I'm growing Bulbophyllum Nasica with like 2 LEDs, which is what I grow some of my Collagenais and even some Cattleya sophronitis as well. So I grow this bright light conditions. Bulbophyllum Championii I grow medium, intermediate light, so under the same level of light as the Nasica, but lower to the bottom of the grow tent. So it's definitely more filtered. But I found that a lot of bulbophyllums where they're suggested to grow bright shade tend to like more light than we think. I'm actually trying to grow some bulbophyllums under Cattleya level light, like Bulbophyllum frostii, and it's led to blooms where I wasn't able to bloom it under the light conditions that I have in my intermediate cool growing grow tent. So that's something I think to keep in mind with bulbophyllums, is they can handle way more light than I think we give them credit for. But those are some care considerations for these bulbophyllums. I think there's a lot that I have to learn about these species, bulbophyllum, and I will share those with you. But I wanted to take a little bit of time to do a quick video to talk about how to grow these 3 new bulbophyllums that just flowered for me for the first time in my orchid collection, and help some of you growers if you're interested. Again, the Bulbophyllum Intersitum was purchased at Andy's Orchids, as was Bulbophyllum Nasica. And then Bulbophyllum Championii was picked up from Tropical Exotic, international vendor that sells this wonderful, wonderful orchid. So. All right, everybody, that's going to conclude my video on how to grow these wonderful Papua New Guinea bulbophyllums, miniature bulbophyllums. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope these tips will help you to grow these plants big and strong in your orchid collection. With that, I'm Brian from Orchids by Brian. I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.